Good morning, everyone. Let's get started with the class now. There are 36 in the class. So can I know what happened to the remaining class? So a little more than half. Yeah. Yeah, Meghna, Debian, good morning. Good morning, everyone. So I'll wait for 2-3 minutes to get started. Good morning, Bikash. We'll get started, right? So we'll give some time. Good morning, Dimple. Good morning, Pranav. So any reason, yeah, good morning, Mike. Any reason as to why your friends are joining in a little late? So because we have to start the case also. Good morning, Isha. So what is the score at this point in time? So how many had joined in? So 39. Good morning, Akshay. Good morning, Palak. Good morning, Toshi. We'll get started. I will start playing the video on Gaga. So today's discussion on Gaga, right? So Gaga for Baba. Baba is a retail store. You would have read it, right? So this is based on a very successful retailer, right? So when we dealt with the Deloitte report the other day, we were just talking about what exactly are the issues faced by retailers in pricing, in margin, in getting the volume, in running the operations, right? So how in a business like that with a wafer thin margin, how this Baba is able to be very successful, that too at a very, what to say, in 6 states of the US, right? So they're not even having a national imprint, print in US. So how they're very successful. So we'll be studying about blue ocean strategy. As you all know, this case is on the blue ocean strategy. So we will use the tools of blue ocean to understand it better. So have you done blue ocean in your strategy? Have you used those tools? Can you just respond, like those of you who had used it, have you done it elaborately in your strategy classes? No, right? So you have not known. Okay, Chitranjan, thank you. Right, so we will do it elaborately, right? So we will do each and every tool so that we understand this case better, right? So I'll start this, but introduction was there. Okay, so you know what blue ocean is, right? So, but you have not been elaborately into it. Is that what, Nikhil? Yeah, fine. So we will get started with the video, right? So I'll play a short video for you, right? So this talks about how exactly is blue ocean used in Wawa.
Before the global economic collapse in 2007, 2008, we had perfected 3 separate businesses on one piece of property: selling fuel, selling convenience store goods, and selling food service. In fact, our volumes were some of the highest in the industry. Our inside sales were 3 times 7-Eleven, a major competitor, and we had some of the highest gas volumes in the country. However, the marketplace was converging. It was becoming a bloody Red Sea. We needed to take our game plan to a new level. We took the tools from Blue Ocean Ship and applied it to our business and created a new strategic plan. We said to ourselves, currently, we are a gasoline retailer and a convenience retailer that happens to sell food service. But to get into uncontested market space, we felt we needed to be a restaurant that happened to sell fuel and happened to sell convenience goods. That was a huge change in the way we thought about our business. We completely re-engineered our systems and our processes to deliver quality food service fast. We expanded the product line with fresh, healthy products. There had never been a restaurant in this country that was outstanding in terms of freshness, quality, and appetite appeal that also sold fuel. We partnered with some of the best logistics suppliers in the nation to provide low cost and speed that enabled our customers to have a great selection for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And by not having drive-through or inside seating, we were able to save costs and create a win-win situation for our customers and Wawa too. Blue Ocean Shift talks about the importance of humanness. Here at Wawa, people are the most important part of our brand. We don't call our employees employees, they are associates of the company. They represent the customer and deliver the brand experience in a very authentic fashion. Here at Wawa, our associates own 40% of the company through an employee stock ownership program. They have a vested interest in everything we do in delivering the Wawa brand experience. As a result of putting Blue Ocean Shift in action, we now sell more food service in our stores than your average McDonald's. And we're now recognized as a restaurant. And we've been given awards for innovation in the restaurant industry and recently even appeared in a wine and food magazine. Dreams do come true.
I have one quick question for one point that the video also and even mentioned the case. When we talk about shifting the focus from being a convenience store which sells gas and food to a quick serving restaurant which on the sides have gas and convenience store. So are we looking at prioritizing one over the other, or how are we looking at these strategies?
It is not prioritizing. It is the core offering is restaurant food, right? So in retail, if you can recall, I was talking about how retailers make money in fuel retailing, right? So fuel retailing, the core component is fuel, and the non-core component is all your other convenience products and your ATMs and other things, right? So in the case of Wawa, what is happening here is that the core is the food service that they offer. The non-core offering is now the convenience products and that of the fuel, right? So it is not that they are shifting, but they are realigning their core constituents, right? So earlier, what was their focus? It was a convenience store that sold gasoline, that sold gas, right? So now what happens is that it is a quick service restaurant that is having some convenience products and that it also sells food. Is that clear, Vivek?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Right. So it is not a total paradigm shift. It is the focus of it. So they are now classified as quick service restaurant, not as a convenience store. That is what the vice president was also mentioning. If you read in the case also, they were earlier not listed in the QSR list because they were considered as a convenience store. But then what did the Blue Ocean strategy tool that they used relied upon? They want to focus food as a core and these two as an allied concept of it, right? So that is the reason why the entire shift had taken place, right? So how was the case? Did you all enjoy it? Was the case new, different, interesting? How was your experience with reading the case and understanding the case? Was it a normal one? Was it a regular retail case? Or you had done IKEA also? Like how was your any insights as to any interesting snippets that you got from the case? It is rather very interesting actually, right? So this is a different kind of it. It's a mix of retail and strategy, and then we'll explore it as we go along, right? So we'll now get into, right? So we were talking about like the question one in the case talks about what can struggling retailers learn from Wawa's BO shift, right? So now tell me, one of you answered me. We had elaborately discussed for 1 hour as to what exactly are the reasons why these retailers are struggling based on Deloitte report. So give me 3 reasons as to why retailers across the globe are struggling today, right? So can you give me 3 reasons as to why retailers struggle. So based on our discussion on Deloitte, can somebody tell me? High competition, exactly. They wish. So what is this high competition doing? So if there is intense competition, what is happening? What is happening to the economics of the store? Or
The choices are increasing, and that is why everybody has to lower all their prices, and it takes a toll on their margins.
exactly. This is what is a retail problem across the globe, whether you operate in one domain or the other, right? So what is, yeah, margins are becoming thinner and thinner, right? So why retailers struggle? This is a common problem which will run today, tomorrow, and forever in retail, right? So it is price margin because of competition. So we were learning as to how this intense competition is driving down the price. Is it driving down the cost? No, right? So as a result of it, the margin is squeezed. So the retailers have to now overcome the problem of how to manage the, yeah, new business models are evolving, right? So how to manage this margin is what is the current issue. Now tell me, now Baba has taken the route of blue ocean, right? So one key component of what a blue ocean is, can somebody tell me what is a blue ocean? One key aspect of the blue ocean. Can somebody tell me what do you do differently? Entering low competition territory, Ritvik.
I'm
Yeah,
Abhishek here.
yeah. Hmm.
So it generally involves changing business models or changing your offerings in such a way that you become irrelevant to your competitors, and you evolve a different niche of sorts.
Good. So what happens here is that you create a scenario where in a territory, right, you make the competition irrelevant. Exactly, you're redrawing the boundaries, you're exploiting the what to say, value cost strategy. You're doing so many different things, right? So point number one, right? So what you do in, yeah, redefining boundaries, it is no longer like you are defining, you're confining yourself only to your industry standards, right? So what did Baba do? We'll take from the case of convenience store. Did they align with what exactly is the convenience store? No. They reject the entire aspect of it. Even when they were convenience store, the way in which they operated the convenience store was not in line with the traditional convenience store. When they were in dairy, they were not in line with what the dairy industry does. So first thing that a blue ocean strategy does is that it creates an uncontested market space, right? So that is what you have to understand, right? So what is this uncontested market space, right? So wherein the space that is available for you to play is all yours, right? But how did you create it? So what did they do in dairy? What exactly was the conventional factors that were offered for milk at that point in time? So in 1902, right? So they started their dairy operations. So what was the industry doing? Yeah, doctor certified. What was the industry doing at that point in time? Right? So pasteurized, good. Now what did they do? What was the industry doing? What did this firm, what did this company do differently? What was the entire practice of all the players of the industry? What were they doing? Industry was doing nothing, okay, right? So what were the how was the other players, the product from milk from other players were? Hygiene practice, yeah, right? So other players were having a non-standardized, not so hygienic, not so safe milk, right? So safety, hygiene, right? All those things were not known in that particular operation procedure. There is no standardization, there is no safety, there is no hygiene, right? So what happens is that that was the way in which the entire industry was functioning. So what did Baba do at that point in time? So as indicated, Baba created a doctor certified milk. What does this tagline doctor certified milk imply? What does this tagline imply? So can somebody tell me as to what this tagline translates on the ground into the offering of the consumer? Exactly, it is safe to consume. It is quality. It is safe. You will not get any bacterial or any infection via milk. Are you in a position to understand? So safety and quality is transferred and not the infection. It is healthy to consume, right? So whenever you have the this is what is a blue ocean strategy canvas, right? So what happens is, are you seeing my slides?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So somehow it just went away from me. Okay, so what happens in this case is that whenever there is something called as, so this is how you have to look at blue ocean as a first step. Whenever you're using this tool, what you need to understand is that you have to understand what exactly are the factors that the entire industry is offering, right? So what exactly are the industry standards? At that point in time, dairy did not have anything called as standards, right? So you had your own dairy unit, or no, farm, or an extension of your home, where you had your dairy, and then that milk was sold to the people who were in need, right? So there is nothing called as industry factors which talks about safety, hygiene, health, and all these things. And then this has to be compared with what exactly are the different offerings of different companies, right? So other companies also were following the industry norms, they were not differentiating it, right? But then what did Wawa do in dairy? They created something which was non-existent, right? So something called as safety, which was of paramount importance in the consumption of any food product, was given importance. And what else did Wawa do apart from quality and ensuring the health and safety of the product? What else was the differentiator which wasn't prevalent at that point in time? What wasn't? Home delivery, exactly, right? So what was happening is that they were now giving a service also, right? So they were giving a product, they were also into delivery of that particular product. And those delivery of the product was indeed was a differentiator at that point in time. So horse-driven carriages carrying milk was associated with Wawa, right? So these horse-driven carriages had that logo, right? So it also carried the brand Wawa to all the places wherever it went, right? So brand building was through quality, was through service, was through product, and was through service, both of which wasn't available. Then yeah, what did they do after that? So after the milk got the space got exhausted because of technology development, so what happened is pasteurization came, homogenization came, and then what happened is that the government mandated all the dairy units to upgrade their processing facilities, and that differentiation of doctor certified milk or the delivery component of it was no longer a differentiator. So what happened to the delivery component? Why was that irrelevant at that point in time? Can you tell me why delivery was irrelevant? Of course, the product was homogenized, pasteurized, everything was standardized. What happened to the delivery component? Why was it irrelevant? Why it became irrelevant? Home delivery, why was that irrelevant? Why was it made irrelevant? Supermarkets came and people started migrating to suburban areas, right? So it is no longer a close-knit community, right? So post the World War, what happened? Americans migrated to suburbs, right? So it is not the downtown which had the good number of people. So delivery and the product availability. So what happened at that point when they were there in the downtown, right? So that is what is the city, right? So these residents were closely found, and then delivering was easier. But these guys have now migrated to suburban areas, and then the supermarkets came, right? So what did the supermarkets do? What was the factor in which the industry, what were the factors that the supermarkets offered to people? What are the 3 or 4 factors that supermarkets gave to people? Everything was available, so all under one roof, that is convenience, right? So we can buy everything under one roof. Then what are the other things? Then if you want milk or meat or grocery or fruits or veggies, you can get lower cost, right? So the price of the product was inherently lower, right, because of the scale that was involved. Then what else? Lower cost translates into lower price. Then what else was there? One more key differentiator of a supermarket: cost is correct, right? Long working hours, quality good, Then related to quality, what is there? They offered variety of merchandise, right? So different options were there for the consumers to choose from, right? So supermarkets were inherently having a variety of merchandise. It offered variety to merchandise. So these were the factors. These were the industry factors. What are those? Value, variety, quality, low price, and that of convenience, right? So what happened once the dairy technology got exhausted? These guys moved into your supermarkets, moved into groceries, right? So what did they do in groceries? What did they do? What are the things? How did they differentiate themselves from the regular conventional, what to say, supermarket? So it was called as Wawa Food Market, right? So what was the differentiating factor? It was the same brand products. They were having their own private labels, right? So they were having their own brand products. They were not having the national brands, right? So then what else happened? So what is now, what does it boil down to? Does it give them a variety? Is it offering, yeah, customer oriented? Let's take one at a point, right? So when I'm offering my own labels, is there variety? Am I offering variety to the consumer? What is supermarket offering? Yeah, what is supermarket? It is offering an array of products, different brands, the depth, right? So the breadth of the product and the depth of the product is also more, right? So what is happening is that they are offering me, but what am I offering? Wawa is offering only very limited number of products. 16 products are there, right? So now what is happening? What about the quality? What about the quality? Quality of Wawa products, it is very high, right? So I abide by the quality aspect of the industry, but variety, I don't follow the industry norms, right? So I'm offering only the limited variety, limited number of products also. Even within the product, I offer only my own brand, right? So I offer dairy, meat, and related products, 16 products, out of which you will not find any of my national labels. So variety is not there, but quality is there. Then what is another differentiating factor? Cross-talking comes later, Devish, comes later when you start your, what to say, QSR, right? Customer service, exactly. Customer orientation, customer service, right? So this genuine, authentic service was a differentiator. Right. So when I'm going for a grocery shopping, what is happening is that this authentic service is missing. So in grocery, you need to understand it is not an experiential product category like that of apparel or yeah, community feeling. Good. So they hail from the community. Right. So what happened is that there is a feeling of community. In the case of grocery shopping, you need to understand offering a service, yeah, clustering, yeah, we'll come to it a little later, Meghna, thank you, right? So what is happening is that it is not an experiential item like that of your, what to say, apparel or electronics, where the service can be of importance, right? So in a grocery, how much amount of service can you give? How much of, what to say, authenticity can you ensure? Despite this being a deterrent, right? So grocery, you need to understand it is a low involvement, low value, frequently purchased products. So you just keep bumping into the store every now and then. You're going to buy worth some $2 or $3 or $10 maximum, right? So at that point in time, to create the genuine service is very different. In grocery, service is usually not a great differentiator, and Baba again did it there, right? So these are the factors. So what happened is that the industry competes on variety, lower cost, convenience, right? So what is Wawa offering? Wawa is offering the lower price, right? So lower price, it offers, but it offers less of variety, but it offers superior service, right? If you take convenience, the location is a convenience, but then the sheer variety of the product is not convenience. If you want to buy anything apart from dairy, you have to go to another store, right? Yeah, they know their customers. So you have to compare, right? So whenever you create blue ocean strategy, the step number one that you need to do is that you need to compare what are the industry factors, what are the factors that runs across the all the players of the industry. How am I offering? Well, how is my offering very different? So what should you do now after doing this canvas? What is this tool for? This strategy canvas for blue ocean. What will that tell you? If you draw a canvas saying that, say for example, I was drawing about, right, so I'll use the annotate tool, let me take it. right? So say for example, yeah, how to position your brand. Say for example, this is your quality, right? So this is your service, this is your, okay, this is your variety. And then where are you offering all these things? Where is your quality? So a graph like this will tell you where exactly can you position, where exactly can you focus the product, right? So you need to understand, I have to focus on service, I have to focus on my own PLB, right? So that is going to be giving me the differentiating factor where I can add more of value. So if you look at the strategy canvas, you can have a snapshot of how the industry functions, how different firms function, how your firm is functioning, where exactly is your differentiation point from that of the industry, and then focus on it, right? So next we will move on to, right, so we will move on to the next aspect of it, gaps with respect to competition, exactly, right? So then what happens is that we have to go into like why this leads to, this brings us to the next tool of it, right? So now that you're understanding the industry perspectives, right? So this brings you to the next part of it. If you know what are the industry factors, right? So how exactly it is operating, it will lead to three different segments of companies, right? So one is called as the pioneer. So the pioneers are the one who are value innovators, right? So value innovators are people who are going to give you unprecedented value which is not found anywhere, right? So what happened is that companies like Wawa, right? So every segment that they operate, they become a value innovator, right? So next, if they went to gasoline, what did they do? What did they do in gas? How did they differentiate in the gas? What value did they give? What value they did not give? What are the things that they did in gas when they opened their fuel outlet? So can you just know credit card charges? So that translates into less money, less price. Then fuel want quality product, low price. So it is always low price, high quality, right? So there is efficiency in the system. You will get a quick refill. You don't have to wait longer, right? So at that point in time, that was not present, right? So what happened is that this pioneer will create a roadmap. And what happened is that smart companies will try to do that, right? So they will do that in a way in which it is unique to themselves. They will not exactly copy what the pioneer does. They will have their own tinge of differentiation factor and then they will offer it. Those companies are called as migrators. And then, of course, you will have the next set of it who will exactly copy what Wawa does, right? So, based on this way in which the industry functions, based on the strategy, you can always have three different segments of the companies, right? So, your company, pioneering company, is the one who will set the benchmark, right? So, they will not follow a benchmark, but they will create benchmarks. Yeah, pioneer to settler becomes, yeah, over a period of time it comes, right? So it is not, see, blue ocean is not going to be blue ocean always. It will become red, but the time frame is what is the point of discussion, how far you're able to stretch being in the blue ocean, right? So that is why if you look at their strategy plan in 2008, right? So they were doing, if you see the video also, right, in 2008 they were doing very well in convenience stores. They were selling 3 times more than 7-Eleven. They were selling more fuel, but then they didn't settle on their laurels. They started focusing on, they saw that the industry trends are converging, right? So the migrators are now coming at a faster speed and imitators are working overnight to dislodge them, right? So they were very alert in understanding it, right? So then you always have to keep watching out for who are your migrators, who are your settlers, what exactly are they doing, right? So they found that the competition is inching closer and closer to them. It's high time that they move into a different space, right? And another important aspect of it is that how exactly are you going to create that particular blue ocean? This is where the fun lies, right? So now what happens is that you always talk about, right, saying that you want to offer high quality products at low price. If it is fuel, the quality should be more, but the price has to be lower. If it is dairy products, the problem price should be lower, but the quality should be higher, right? So if it is convenience goods, your price should be lower, your product should be, your quality should be higher. If your QSR, the food that you offered should be of high quality, healthy, safety, but then the price should be lower. But how exactly can we arrive at it, right? So this value innovation happens through this framework called ERRC, right? So what you need to do, right? So this is another important tool which will be of great use to you, right? So this is again the Blue Ocean tool by Kim and his co-author, right? So what you need to look at is, right? So you need to look at eliminating, reducing, raising, and creating, right? So we'll first see the eliminating and reducing part of it, right? So you need to understand what exactly is the one that which the industry offers that you can eliminate so that you reduce the cost, right? So what is that factor which has to be totally removed, right? And what other factor, if it cannot be eliminated, can be reduced below the industry standard? What the industry is offering at this point in time, I am not offering, right? So in the case of QSR, what did they do? They eliminated tables together in total, right? So there is no seating area at all, right? So it is always getting and then moving away from the stool. What does a conventional QSR has? The conventional, according to industry norm, the quick service area should have a little dining area. They eliminated the dining area totally, right? So what did they reduce? So compared to that, what exactly did they reduce? I'm not going to dwell deep into it. You have to use this tool and then now you have to find out, right? So what is the industry offering? What am I now reducing, right? So what is it that I can raise, right? So what is it that I can create new, right? So in the case of dairy, what did they do? They were giving something called as a doctor certified milk, which was not present at all. So of course this doctor certified milk is a safe standardized milk, right? So it has a standard operating procedures to procure, process, and deliver, right? So this was something that they created in the initial days. What did they raise, right? So what did they raise? In the grocery store, they raised the level of consumer service. As I told you, in grocery, you've been to many supermarkets, right? So you know the level of customer service there, right? So but what did they do? Even in that, in where the industry is not having that much of a standard, I raised it to that of a very, very personal service, right? So now all of you create a Word document and then now you use this framework, right? And then now you have to list down what are the factors that they eliminated, what did they reduce, what did they raise, what did they create for a QSR restaurant. Is that clear? I'll give you 5 minutes. It is an individual activity, right? So create a ERRC framework in a Word document, and then I will ask one of you to share it, and then we'll start the discussion now. Is that clear? This framework, you have to apply it for QSR of Wawa, right? So what are the things that they eliminated? What did they reduce? What did they raise? And what did they create? Is the individual activity clear to you? You now have to apply this and then create what exactly did they do for QSR. We'll take the discussion from there on. So now it is 9:49. So 9:55, we will start the discussion. I'm giving you 5 minutes. You need to jot down all the factors, right? Is it clear? Can you start right now? Please start right away. It is an individual activity. It has to be in a Word doc, right? So it needs to be submitted also. Is that clear? So if you have any doubts, you can always ask me via chat. Right? So those of you who did not get it as to what this ERRC framework is, It is nothing but for a QSR, what did Gaga do? What did they eliminate? What did they reduce? What did they create? What did they raise? Do it in a separate Word document so that it is amenable for submission. Okay, so creating was, right, it was like, say for example, in the case of dairy, right? So they, for the first time, created something called as a doctor certified milk, right? So doctor certified milk was something that was non-existent. Nobody knew that there is something called as a certification, that to doctor certified milk. So they were the first one to create such things, right? So that is what is creation part of it, doing it new for the first time. Yeah, raising it, say for example, the customer service is always there in a retail outlet, right? In a grocery outlet, there will always be people who will be there, right? So very minimal people will be, sales force will be there inside a grocery retailing, right? So those surveys in a grocery retail, the service levels are pretty low, right? So they will only help you find products if it is not found in the regular area. But then this, in the case of it, was raised. It was personalized. It was emotional connect. That was the raising part of it, right? So if you have any doubts, you can always ask me. Now we have to do it for quick service restaurant. Quick service restaurant, not for any other what to say category in which Baba was there. Do it in a Word document so that you can share and you can submit. Submission is after the class, not now, right? So now it is only sharing and discussion. Submission will be post class. Yeah, we will start the discussion. Can any one of you volunteer to share what you did in that? What are the things that Gaga eliminated, raised, created, reduced, right? So can somebody volunteer to share and then discuss? I have given you the share screen option. So anybody would like to do it? So can I have some volunteers to share your thoughts on how you applied this particular framework? So there is no one who wants to volunteer. So anybody? Yeah, Abhishek, can you just go ahead? I have stopped screen share from my end. So you can go ahead, share your document and then start presenting. Thank you, Abhishek, for volunteering. Right? Good. Good. Exactly, right? So you got the first point bang on, right? So can you just brief something about it, eliminating, and what is its impact on the cost and the economics part of it, so that the profitability improves? Abhishek?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. So in QSR, generally the rental cost accounts for 30 to 40% of all the operating costs.
Good, good, good.
And by reducing the floor area, they basically reduce their rental costs, overall OPEX.
Okay.
And like sort of the kitchen area was also can also come under eliminate part.
Yeah.
But we had a smaller kitchen, so I kept it under reduce part.
Exactly. Very, very correct. Absolutely correct, Abhishek. Very nice way of analyzing the ERRC framework. Good. So point number one, like, just give me a moment. I will also share my thoughts on it. So the one thing that was eliminated in the case of your QSR was that the dining area was eliminated, right? So they did not have, then what else did they eliminate? Was it only dining area? Was it only dining area? Then what else is eliminated? What else was eliminated?
Yeah, so they removed the ordering stations as well. Like
Yeah.
the employees need not take
No, so
orders.
they did not have the people to take the orders. Then one more thing, if you study that case hard enough towards the last few pages, you will say they eliminated the purchasing agent, right? So the procurement agent who will procure salads and that of, you can add that, yeah. So the procurement of it, purchase of your salads and your, what to say, cooked meat, pre-cooked meat, and all those things, they eliminated purchase agents also, right? But another thing that they reduced it, is there anything else that they eliminated in QSR? One was dining area. It was totally removed, because in QSR, how is the metric? What is the metric that governs the QSR? It is a number of times that the tables are turned, right? So like how many times did the table was turned, meaning that how many times that the tables were used again and again, right? So that is an important metric for QSR. Table turning is a metric for any restaurant, not necessarily QSR. But then this guy has removed the table only, has removed the table and the seating arrangement, so that metric is completely removed. You're not having that metric at all, right? So you don't have the metric which is governing the sale of the product. How many times the tables are turned is the restaurant metric. But then this guy has eliminated it totally. This is where the innovation is, right? So you need to understand that they think really out of the box to understand it. Then reducing, right? So one is the reducing the kitchen area and the equipment requirement, bare minimal cooking space, because there was a centralized kitchen, and that centralized kitchen was also very low, less in size. It was like that of a home kitchen. The centralized facility was also like having a less space, and your own what to say, cooking or reheating or whatever minimal cooking that you have is also reduced. Good, right? So then go ahead, Abhishek. Very nice, you've done it very well, right? So
Yeah.
what else did you do? What else did they do? What
Uh,
they reduced?
so usually the QSR focus is much more on fast food, we're having high calories and all.
Good, good.
Try to reduce that part. We can say that they eliminated that part as well, because they were focusing mostly on healthy options. So
Yeah.
that also comes.
Eliminating the unhealthy option, right? So
And
eliminating the unhealthy option and giving only, so in the case if you read, Americans love comfort food, but then we don't want to give them comfort food. So it can be categorized under eliminating also. They did not have what to say, fast food burgers. What they had was a healthy, safe restaurant, what to say, healthy, safe, high quality product. So eliminate can be the what to say, unhealthy component also. right? So you can add that to your elimination also. They had eliminated it, right? So unhealthy products which were otherwise a part of QSR, right? So what is found in QSR is that it is synonymous with what to say products which are high on calories, right? Then what happened is that they reduce the kitchen area. Good. Then what else did they reduce? Can somebody tell what else the other things that they were reduced? Yeah, homogenization was reduced. They increased personal. Yeah, good, right? So that is raising, Ria. What is reducing? Now we'll reduce the. We'll speak about reduce and then go to the next part of it.
Ma'am,
Traded.
I have a question.
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
Ma'am,
Hmm.
ma'am, so I wrote similar points, but I am facing a concern that there are certain points that will fall under, say, eliminate and create as well.
So,
Like they removed the unhealthy products and replaced them with the healthy ones. They created healthy.
yeah. Yeah, then you can say raising is increasing the healthier options, right? They have kale and quinoa, and then that applewood smoked bacon, and all those things which industry was never offering. That is raising the standard. See,
And so
And ma'am,
in the same way, so the homogenization point is basically that you, in a quick service restaurant, there's generally a more homogenized service. They offer you very particular products because they have a way of making them.
good,
So
good. So
would that come in reduced or would it come in increased or
it is
raised?
creating. Na? So do you have does McD offer personalization? Does Panera offer personalization? Here it is personalization. You can personalize the products that you want, right? So if it is a coffee, you can make the coffee, add whatever you want to personalize it. Is it found in any of the McD? I don't think McD offers it. I had been to McD Chennai. It is not offering it. Is any other
It
place,
doesn't.
right?
They don't.
They don't. Then it is creating, is it not? They have created personalization option in QSR, which is otherwise not found. Personalization is not found, it is standardization. So how does QSR make money? QSR makes money by giving standardized products to large number of people, right? So now this QSR is giving you a personalization option, and they in fact facilitate it also by technology, right? So they give you an ordering kiosk, they lead you towards personalization, right? So this again is creating, is it not?
ma'am,
Yeah.
then these right now you mentioned about kiosk, right? So this kiosk reduce the line for the food counters, right? So the number of food counters were reduced and kiosks were put there, which significantly saved time.
Facilitate the ordering process and to remove the human element in it, right?
Yes. So will it be reduce or create?
It is creating a personalization option, right? But it also eliminates the need for human intervention. It can come under two things. It eliminates human intervention in the ordering
So
process.
there can be an overlap
There can
also.
be an overlap, but the overlap has to be clearly demarcated. What does it eliminate? It
Okay.
eliminates the human intervention. But what is it increasing? It is increasing the personalization option. It is under two things. The same ordering kiosk is reducing one thing and enhancing another thing. So it has to be classified into human intervention component and then personalization component. Right?
Okay.
So human intervention reduces the cost. Personalization increases the customer satisfaction, customer delight. Right? So it has to be classified. Abhishek, can you just make a collective part of it as and when we discuss so that this sheet can be shared with everybody, right? So as and when we discuss, keep on adding points. So eliminating the human intervention and creating personalization, which wasn't found in the industry, right? So then what else are the additional points, right? Yeah, eliminating human interaction. And what else was reduced? What else was reduced? Yeah, personalization will increase cost, but then they have kept it low by making a technology intervention and also by proper sourcing process, right? So you source it at a lower cost, right? And also you don't have much of manpower cost, Palak. As a result of it, the cost was kept lower. You offer value, but you offer it at a lower cost, right? So a value is given. Personalization is an increased value, but then you're running your operations under profit. It is not like Air India, right? So you want to serve the customers but you're not making money. But here they are giving value to the consumers, they are giving what to say, they are reducing the cost and they are making the profit also, right? So it is balancing so many things, right? So the consumer component of it, the price component of it, the margin component of it, and then how exactly can you run the business operations profitably. So anything else that they reduced? Can somebody tell me, is there anything that we get? Logistics cost was reduced. Yeah, so logistics cost was reduced And to a greater extent, what was the reason? Reducing logistic cost. How was the cost reduction arrived in logistics? Because of clustering of stores, right? So clustering of stores was something that these guys created also, right? So reducing is reduction in, clustering is the creation, a reduction in the number of logistics cost, but they created the concept called clustering, right? So what is this clustering? What is so very important in clustering? Why other companies did not do? Why the industry is not doing clustering? Can somebody tell me? Clustering is stores found in close to closer to each other, right? So franchisee. So what happened is that, yeah, good, cannibalizing the sales, right? So what happens is that whenever there is a retail store, right? So every retail store has a catchment area, right? So this catchment area, what is this catchment area, right? So I will, okay, now that he's sharing it, I don't want to share my screen. I'll just tell you and then I will draw the diagram later, right? So can you see my palm, right? So this is the retail store, right? So this pen, which I'm pointing out, is the retail store. And 5 kilometer radius around the particular store is, yeah, good, you're drawing it, thank you. 5 kilometer radius around that particular store is called as the catchment area of the store, right? So the first 2 kilometers is called as the primary catchment area. The next 2 is called as the secondary catchment area, and the last 1 kilometer is called as the tertiary catchment area. Is that clear? Right? So what is happening is that within that 5 kilometer radius, any retailer who's setting up the store at the center, right? So would like to have all the customers coming to them. And if you're going to start another store, right? So within this 5 kilometers, what will happen? There will be a cannibalization of the customer. So either he will take away your primary catchment area, or he's going to take away your secondary or your tertiary catchment area. So generally in retail, right? So if it belongs to a particular chain, they will not like to have stores which are closer to each other, right? Even if it is run by the own company, even if it is company owned, company operated, they will not do it. And many of these retailers, right, so offer through franchisees, right? So they expand through franchisees. So the franchisee is an independent entity, he's an entrepreneur, right? So what happens is that if you're going to start stores close to each other, it will cannibalize on each other's sales. They will not prefer. So the industry norm is to have stores slightly scattered so that you don't eat into each other's sale, and you run your operations perfectly fine. But what did Wawa do? They again created something called as clustering, the composition of the stores which are very close to each other, right? So this again is something which was different. Clustering was also a creation, right? Then what else did they do? What else did they do? Even their QSRs are also closely packed, right? Meaning that they are at regular intervals within the particular range of 5 kilometer radius. Thank you, Abhishek, for contributing, right? So you have drawn it also very well as to what is the store, what is the primary catchment area, secondary catchment area, tertiary catchment area. Nobody wants to intervene it, right? So if you're running a franchisee, there's a clear agreement which says that within that particular radius of operation, you should not allot the other franchisee, right? So then what did they raise? What did they raise? What did they raise? They increased the genuine human interaction. That is more important, right? Authentic customer service, which is missing in grocery store. As I told you, it is not easy to serve people with authenticity in grocery. It's not a product category amenable for it, nor will people accept it, right? So when I go to a grocery store, I don't expect a wonderful service. When I go to an electronics retailer, I want that to be done. When I go to an apparel retailer, I would expect it. So this was an authentic service. How was this authenticity established? It was established because they were from a local community. This is a strong community-oriented retailer, right? So you pick people from the community. The people who work here are closely related otherwise with the people. So authenticity comes as a natural form of their interaction. It is not through customer service training, right? So authenticity in relationship is also basically because of that. Then the next one is friendly atmosphere. Good. Then the raising product quality, right? So whatever they offered, they kept on increasing the quality of the products that were offered, right? So that is another thing, whether it is dairy or whether it is fuel or whether it is their convenience product or whether it is their what to say food that they offer, they were continuously enhancing their quality. So racing is a common thing which any company will do, right? So what is found here is the elimination part of it and the reduction part of it. You should know what to eliminate so that the cost works favorably, right? And then what did they create? So they created ordering kiosk, which reduced the waiting time, which also made the process much more simpler. And then they created something called as personalization in QSR, which wasn't prevalent at all, right? And then there were multiple coffee vending machines, right? So which were offering the coffee, and also it was kept in cafe also, right? And then strategic partnering, right? So why is the strategic partnering very important? What did they create there? What is very new in it? So what does a conventional QSR do? What will the conventional QSR do? They will have their own kitchen facility, right? They will make the product, right? So it is not strategic partnering, sourcing from your safe do in house or outsource, right? So this is basically a mix of both, right? So you're doing part of it at home and part of it outsourcing, and it is economies of scale. So they arrived at creating a new kind of QSR, no quotient. So this is what is the ERRC framework. If this framework is right in place, then blue ocean strategy is nothing to not a big deal at all. What you reduce, what you eliminate is very, very important, right? So this will work on the cost component, right? So what you're going to eliminate, what you're going to reduce is going to take care of the cost, right? So it's going to decrease the cost. What you're going to raise, what you're going to create is going to add to the value. So thank you, Abhishek. Can you save this and then can you stop sharing? I will go back to my PPT so that I will tell you what is value innovation, right? So thank you. Just have this with you, right? Fine. So this will result in, if you do your ERRC framework properly, if that tool is effectively used, this value innovation is not at all a problem, right? So that is what I was telling you, right? So this will tell you, this will propel you towards the creation of a market value, right? So if you eliminate and if you reduce, you will reduce the cost, right? So if you raise and if you're going to create, that will enhance the value. This will permanently shift the curve to the upper side. It is no longer the Porter's force which says it is either differentiation or low cost, right? So what did we learn so far? It will either be differentiation. If you're going to differentiate high, right? So then it will be a high cost operation. But if you're not going to differentiate, it will be a low cost operation, but then there will be no different innovation in the particular product. So it is always either differentiation or cost. It can never be both. But if you use this blue ocean tool, if you use this particular ERRC framework, this envelope can be moved, right? So that is what is blue ocean shift. Is that clear? Right? So what is happening here is that you are now reworking the way in which the industry is functioning. You're creating your own path, right? So no one has given all those things. This creation of it is now pushing the envelope towards the upper end, wherein there is a high differentiation. You're giving a personalized product, food item to a customer, right? So if it is a hoggy, right? So that hoggy is having a healthy ingredient to it. So if I want, I can add my dash of sauce, whatever I want to, right? So I can add my own choice of veggies to it. I can add my own choice of meat to it, right? So I can add my own toppings, right? So there is a high amount of personalization. There is differentiation. But is the company charging you for the personalized or the differentiated product? No, it is low. This is possible only in blue ocean strategy. If you look at the prices of it, right? So look at the difference in the prices between the products in different companies and that of Wawa, right? So a coffee in Wawa, right? So it is costing closer to 2.7, right? So yeah, we'll go to it a little after this, Vivek. 2.6, whereas in the Starbucks it is 5, almost double, right? So look at the chicken noodle soup, right? So it is not double, but then it is slightly higher. Look at this burrito. So burrito is what the US people eat so frequently, burrito and hoggies and that of these bacons or those things which they use very commonly, right? So what happens is that we need to understand that these are things which you need to work out differently. So we will break now, and then we will come back at 10:30 and then discuss few more tools, right? So what are the two tools that we discussed today? One is how to draw the canvas, then how to use the ERRC framework. ERRC framework is the basis of it. If you know this tool, it is sufficient, right? So on how exactly is your industry functioning, and where exactly is the company bringing in the point of differentiation. So we'll break now, and then we'll come back at 10:30 and we'll continue the discussion. Welcome back to the class. We'll get started with the next part of it, right? So we were talking initially on how to create an uncontested market space, right? So we were talking about, right, how Baba managed to do so wonderfully across different product categories in which they were operating, right? So whether it is dairy or whether it is convenience stores or whether it is the erstwhile food market or their fuel retailing outlet or their QSR, right? So how did they manage to do it? So we saw a couple of tools, right, as to what exactly should be done initially to start off with Blue Ocean, right? So what is Blue Ocean is, the point number one is that it is making the competition irrelevant, right? So there is no principle of benchmarking, right? So you're no longer competing within the people within your industry, but you're moving away from the industry, taking inputs from other industry and creating your own imprints, right? So that is creating an uncontested space for a short while. Please understand, Blue Ocean is not a perennial blue ocean, right? So what you do is that initially you're a pioneer, you're a value innovator, right? So you create things, and after that time, after some time, few of your things will be modified by somebody and few of it will be copied by somebody, and this blue will become a red ocean, right? So what you do initially when you're going to start off with Blue Ocean is you have to understand what is the industry offering, what are the companies offering, what are the industry standards, right? If it is a supermarket, according to industry, what are the factors that influence the category called supermarkets? What are the different, who are the different players, and what are these players offering? What am I offering? How is my offering different from other players? How is it away from what the industry does? This is what is the premise. That can be understood, or that you can work out using a tool called ERRC framework of your Blue Ocean. So what does it tell you precisely? It tells you what are the things that you can eliminate, what are the things that you can reduce. If you eliminate certain things, if you reduce certain things, what will be obviously it will lead to reduction in the cost, right? And the next part of the ERRC framework is what are you going to raise, right? So what are you going to create new? You have eliminated few things, right? So in its place, are you creating something new? You have reduced something, in place, are you enhancing something, right? So this is the RC, the reduction, this is the raising and creating part of it. This raising and creating part of it in Blue Ocean strategy is the value contributor. It is the way in which you're going to enhance the value, right? So this is what is called as the pushing the envelope of your value and cost. Conventional strategy says it is either or. You can have a high differentiation product, highly differentiated product, or a undifferentiated product. You can have a high price differentiated product or an undifferentiated low price product. This is defying that. It is moving the center of gravity towards something else. So you create a differential product at the same time at the low cost, and then transfer that cost as a low price to the consumers. So how you're pushing the value cost, differentiation cost boundary, right? So that is what we dealt till now. Now we are moving on to the next part of it, right? So what did they do to make the competition irrelevant, right? So we discussed two things. One is clustering of the stores, which we did elaborately on what is a store, what is a catchment area, what is primary, what is secondary, what is tertiary, and what is the conventional norm. Let's say within the 5-kilometer radius, ideally, the same store will not be found, right? So why is because it is likely to lead to reduction in the sale, right? But what is happening? They were going against the competition, against the industry. Competition is industry, right? So they went against the industry in creating a clustering. And then what is this COCO? What is this COCO? Why did they have only company owned, company operated retail outlets? These guys are very successful, right? So they had a great brand following, right? So for them, finding a franchisee for their outlet is not going to be difficult, right? So why did these people did not go take the franchisee route? Can somebody tell me what is the principle behind it on not going in for the franchisee mode? Can somebody tell me? Can somebody tell me as to maintain consistency?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am,
Yeah.
one reason that franchising is to only look at profits.
Yeah,
So,
only look at profits.
I was beyond it.
Yeah, so not beyond it. Then what else? It is a way of expanding your national footprint, is it not? So the visibility of it, right? So quality control, everything will be a problem. So why companies go for franchising is it is an easier way to make money, right? So you sell your franchisee outlet outright, you get a fee outright, you get a amount, right? And after which you'll get a regular income through the outlets, wherein your role is very minimal, your intervention is very minimal. That is a quick way to scale up your business, earn quick money, capitalize on your brand equity, right? But despite all these things, all these things, these guys did not go for franchising at all. This is counterintuitive. It is something which is a high risk decision, right? So you're not capitalizing on what is with you, right? And then you're taking the risk of operating all the stores yourself. What is the only advantage of it is that your company culture permeates across all the stores, and then you're not bothered about cannibalization of the sales. Anyways, it is the company that is getting benefited, whether they buy from store 1 or store 2, it is immaterial, right? So this is another risky. Yeah, it can implement any initiatives easily, and the company culture, they focus on more of intangibles. They focus on excellent authentic service, that again is intangible, right? They focus on company culture, which again is intangible. These are things which are very difficult to copy also. Are you in a position to understand? So people can always copy products, services, operations, processes, but then these are things which are very difficult to copy, right? So how can you copy the exact Wawa culture in McD? It may not be possible, right? So these guys wanted to have tighter control over their intangible components, which are very difficult to imitate. Thereby, you control imitation, right? So how can you imitate an authentic service? You can only try doing it to some extent. Authenticity comes from within, right? So yeah, not easy for the franchisee. These guys are shareholders of the company. They were 40% of the stocks, right? So what I do comes from the ownership of the company, which cannot be replicated in a store, which easy franchising also. Yeah, showing presence everywhere is easy for franchising also. But then they did not do that at all. So this again is a counterintuitive thing. So you have to be risk taking also. You have to think beyond the regular way of thinking. So that is very important, right? So then we'll go on to the next part of it on what exactly is the non-customers, right? So Blue Ocean tool talks about non-consumers. What is this non-consumers? What is this non-consumers? Can somebody tell me? What exactly do you mean by non-customers? What is customers? Who are these non-customers? Why is this focus on non-customers in Blue Ocean? Who are these non-customers?
Customers, when we talk about customer, we see people, not just repeat purchase, but building a loyalty. But on the other hand, non-customers are people who can have a loyalty to other outlets, but also regularly, come and visit and shop from Wawa.
Right. Okay. Right. Non-customer C. Right. So this is a pull strategy. Right. There is a model called as PPM model. Have I discussed this model with you? Push, pull, and mooring model. Have I discussed it, or if you know, I will discuss it less? Okay, no, right? So there are 3 different ways by which you can draw consumers towards your brand, towards your company, or towards your store, right? One is push, the other one is pull, and the third one is mooring. Push strategy is, I am not happy with the current brand I am using or the current store which I am visiting. So the service levels are very bad. The store does not give me quality product, variety is not there, something is there which I want but it is missing in the store. So this pushes me to the alternative, right? And pull strategy is the attractiveness of the alternative that is available. So currently I'm having all these things, right? So the store which I'm patronizing is having variety, quality, authentic service. But then this store is more enticing. It offers me still more variety, but a good amount of private labels. The service level that is they found there is very authentic, right? And the products are of high quality, right? So this is a pull factor. You're enticing the customer by something which is unique to you. And mooring factors are situational factors. Like, so situational factors are like, say for example, I shop at Wawa because it is close by, right? So 3 ways by which the customer can be pulled by any of these retailers. And Wawa focuses on pull strategy. Pulling is looking at the positive attributes of the brand, the company, the consumers will flock them, right? So now this is what is the strategy to draw the customers. And who are these non-customers? What is this non-customers? Have you heard it earlier, this term called non-customers prior to Blue Ocean? As to who are those non-customers? Customers we frequently, people who rarely use QSR, good. Then non-customers are the group of customers who are not currently patronizing your outlet or patronizing the product category at all, right? So they are not eating anything in QSR. Those are people who are non-users of your product, right? Or the other set of people are that they are not coming to Wawa, but they're going to McD and Panera, right? So these are people who are patronizing other outlets, but not yours, right? So now this company is focusing on these two non-customers, right? So why should you focus on people who are not eating anything at QSR at all and people who are patronizing other brands? Why can't you focus on your own customers? Why don't you upsell them? What is upselling? You're currently selling something of product worth $5. Now sell them product worth $10. Why is this upselling not the focus, but drawing consumers from the other companies and drawing consumers from those who are not a part of this industry at all? Why? It is an untapped market, right? See, for example, I am drinking 5 liters of Coke, right? So how much more can I drink in a week? You cannot make me eat more and more, right? So how much more of upselling can you do? You cannot do. There will be only limits to the existing consumption norms. And if you're going to force people for upselling, like by creating a cluttered store, maze layout, and add more of impulse item and more of unhealthy items, induce them to consume, it is not the right thing to do, right? So what is happening is that Wawa focused on something called as the non-customers. And according to Blue Ocean strategy, there are 3 types of non-customers, right? So one is a soon to be extinct customer, right? So what is this soon to be extinct customers, right? So these are customers, right? So who are waiting to churn, waiting to leave. Okay, so Wawa at one point in time was offering uninteresting range of food, right? So they were hoggies that were available, but they were kept in these heaters for a long time, and then they were not all that tasty, all that healthy, all that fresh, right? But then people consumed it out of necessity. Probably they did not have the affordability to get something else, so this set of people bought it out of some necessity. The moment their purchasing power improves, they may migrate, right? And then the other thing is that refusing people, right? So those who patronize other stores, seeing that the product availability in your store is not up to the mark, right? So they don't like the offering, so they don't like something in your store, they are not currently patronizing. And there is unexplored. These guys are not going to your outlet or to any other QSR, whether it is McD or Panera or any other outlet, they are not going, right? So now take out your Word document and then tell me who are the soon to be extinct customers, who are those customers who are refusing and who are those customers who are waiting to be explored. So I'm giving you 2 minutes time, right? Collect your thoughts and then pen me and then share with me as to who are your customers, non-customers, who are likely to be churning. Churning is, right? So he's about to move. He's in a state of churn, right? He's likely to switch. Can you just go ahead and then do it and then share it with me? I'll give you 2 minutes time. This is a relatively easier task, right? I had discussed most of it. All you need is to collate and then tell me. So it is 10:44 now, 46. We will start the discussion. So this is for the QSR I want, right? So I want you to do the 3 sets of customers for QSR, not for any other product category, not for dairy, not for your supermarket or your convenience. Okay, can somebody tell me who exactly are your soon to be non-customers, who are refusing and who are unexplored? Can you just categorize and then tell me? There are 3 sets of people. Can somebody volunteer to tell? Who are those non-customers, soon to be non-customers, right? Yeah, people who, yeah, refusing people don't align themselves with the idea of QSR at all. Exactly, right? So, are loyal to, they are loyal to rivals, right? So unexplored are the people who don't eat or rarely eat. That is the unexplored segment, right? So refusing are belonging to your competitors, right? So refusing are those who are currently patronizing your other options. Your soon to be non-customers are your own customers. Are you in a position to understand? So your soon to be non-customers are your own customers who are not currently satisfied with your offering. If you look at Wawa, despite the good job that they've been doing, they also have this disgruntled elements in their customer portfolio, right? So those who eat their hoggies, which are not all that great, right? So these guys are likely to shift, right? So they will shift to another brand the moment they get an opportunity to do, either based on their purchasing power or income, whatever it is, they will shift. So to retain them, you have to give high quality, fresh, safe, healthy food. And then, okay, you give them and then you retain them. But how much more when this guy also eat, right? So he and his family can eat, but you cannot, beyond that, you cannot enhance the consumption. How to build the volumes, right? So the volumes can be built by these 2 categories. People who are not exposed to your industry at all, and people who are there currently with your competitors, right? So this tool by your ERS, by your blue ocean strategy will clearly tell you, right? So who are my current customers who are likely to churn? Who are those customers of other players in the industry? And who are the people who are not a part of my industry at all? Now I'm drawing people who are currently not a part of QSR from my competition. This is again another tool to build volumes, right? So this is a low cost model. To make money, I need the volume. To make volume, my existing database, the existing base of customers is not enough, right? I have to expand my portfolio, right? So that is what he is doing, right? So this tool of 3 tiers of non-customers will fetch you a rough number of it, right? So if you have the industry data with you, if you have the demographic profile, if you have the profile of the state or the area of operation, you can give numbers to it, right? So you can find out how many people are currently patronizing from, say, for example, Delaware, right? So how many people are visiting Panera, how many are visiting McD, right? So how many are visiting Starbucks for coffee, right? So that number will give you this set of refusing people. So you can assign numbers to it, right? So these are people, right? So if you look at the industry data or any other data that is available with the F&B in your report, you can find out how many people in the country do not go to QSR at all, because inherently they have an aversion towards the category of food that is available. So by enticing these people, can I make more money? That is what is more important, right? So what is happening here is that we were talking about what is the blue ocean strategy, and an important aspect of it is market sensing, the last component. So we had discussed value cost trade-off, right? So how to push the a boundary of differentiation and cost, and then give a product which is high on value but low on cost. Another important aspect of it is the market sensing part of it, right? So what is market sensing? Market sensing is getting to know what is likely to happen. How many of you have seen this Arthur Clarke's video? Have you seen? Anybody? Have you seen Arthur Clarke's video? Okay, I'll play it. Okay, fine. You just listen to it. He is amazing. He's an amazing guy. I was struck by his predictions, right? So no one can imagine to his extent. It is an interview, right? So in 1964, you listen to it, and then we'll come back and discuss as how people can be this great in their sensing capabilities. So are you getting it? So it is an interview by Arthur C. Clarke on his predictions on future technology. It is 64, right? 55 years before, 56 years before, right? Listen to his remarkable predictions.
But what about the city of the day after tomorrow, say the year 2000? I think it will be completely different. In fact, it may not even exist at all. Oh, I'm not thinking of the atom bomb and the next Stone Age. I'm thinking of the incredible breakthrough which has been made possible by developments in communications, particularly the transistor and, above all, the communications satellite. These things will make possible a world in which we can be in instant contact with each other, wherever we may be, where we can contact our friends anywhere on Earth, even if we don't know their actual physical location. It will be possible in that age, perhaps only 50 years from now, for a man to conduct his business from Tahiti or Bali just as well as he could from London. In fact, if it proves worthwhile, almost any executive skill, any administrative skill, even any physical skill could be made independent of distance. I am perfectly serious when I suggest that one day we may have brain surgeons in Edinburgh operating on patients in New Zealand. When that time comes, the whole world will have shrunk to a point, and the traditional role of the city as a meeting place for man would have ceased to make any sense. In fact, men will no longer commute, they will communicate. They won't have to travel for business anymore, they'll only travel for pleasure. I only hope that when that day comes, and when the city is abolished, the whole world isn't turned into one giant suburb.
So did you listen to his predictions? Right? So what are your comments on that? It is in 1964. This guy has predicted so much, right? So we cannot visualize those things, right? So amazing for 1960. See, you cannot imagine. It's mind blowing. This guy predicts internet, commute, and communicating. I was blown away after listening to this, right? So what has happened in 2020 after pandemic? This guy has predicted way back in 1964 when the communication, the satellites were in its preliminary stage, right? So this is what is called as, see, he's a remarkable person, but then some amount of market sensing we should also have, right? So market sensing is very important because it is giving you what lies ahead. You have to sense what is ahead of you rather than seeing it what lies ahead of you. If you see what lies ahead of you, you have only reaction time. If you sense what is going to unfold, you have that proactive time, right? So you have the time to think and then respond, right? So this company has a remarkable market sensing power. They were doing very well in convenience store. They were doing very well in fuel. But then they found that it is unlikely to stay. They saw that things are converging. It's becoming a red ocean. The economy is not doing well, right? So the 2008 recession was there, right? I am doing well is not sufficient. At this point in time, I'm not able to see what is likely to unfold, but then I could sense this could unfold. This is a basis for success of any business, especially retail. You should understand what is the change that is going to unfold. Otherwise, you have to go bankrupt, right? So there are lots and lots of businesses, retail businesses that get that are closed, but then this guy is not closing at all. Why? Is because of the fact that they have that remarkable market sensing capacity. Market sensing is something which is intuitive, right? It has to come from over experience, right? So I just, it was not, After Clock's video was not related to this case, but then I thought I should share it because way back in 1964, when things were very primitive, communication satellite also was very primitive, and this guy was able to predict it, right? So this is to tell you what is market sensing. That is why seeing your change is not going to yield any benefit to you. Sensing your change is what is going to yield business results, right? So this is the cluster of stores in the states. They operate in 6 states of US, and look at how close these stores are, right? So all of them are found extremely close to each other. They have 800 odd stores at this point in time. All these 800 odd stores are extremely close, right? So they were in Pennsylvania, part of it is in Pennsylvania, and then in close by states, right? So this is basically to tell you what exactly is happening in Baba, right? So now I'll play you a news item, right? So that is pretty long. I will cut it short and I will play. Before that, we will discuss about what exactly did Baba do differently. What they do as they developed it, what did they do that helped them, and what they did is not going to help them. So just have a look at this video, right? I'll play an abridged version of it, right? So I'll just cut it short because we don't have the time.
Here's the thing, the millennial generation just don't eat at home much anymore. Eating out rather than eating in is the new normal, and this is a tremendous opportunity for convenience retail. But the trouble is, it's very competitive. Here in the US, we have one of the most advanced fast casual sectors in the world. How are the convenience retailers here measuring up? Well, let's take a look at one of the best. Welcome to Wawa. Wawa opened their first new large store design here in Florida about 1.5 years ago. And since then, the brand's gone from strength to strength. Customers like it quite a bit.
It's pretty reasonably priced. The people here are very hospitable. It's just a great atmosphere to come into.
The sandwiches are great. Absolutely great. Fresh, very good. Prices are reasonable too.
The customer service is really great, and the food is really good.
It's a very clean store. The staff is very friendly. They were very helpful to me.
It's kind of new to the area, and I actually come here pretty often. I come here for breakfast, and I mainly come for the food. For the bagels and the sandwiches.
I love the freshness, all the choices. Most of the fast food places, they're all prepackaged, fattening, and I just love the fresh choices.
Great food, great coffee, reasonable prices.
I really like the coffee, and it's really quick and easy to get.
We come in here quite a bit. Our office is down the street. We get lunch. It's always quick. The service is great.
The store is very well laid out. You can find anything that you need.
I love Wawa. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, so I'm moving down here, and they finally brought Wawa here. I'm so excited. I love Wawa. It's awesome. Fresh food, gas, quality.
I'm glad that you guys are coming to Central Florida, popping up. Love it.
I lived in Florida all my life, and I've never had a place that has everything in it all in one stop. So it's pretty nice.
Todd Suders is the Director of Operations for Wawa here in Florida. So Todd, you've been with Wawa for 14 years. Tell me a bit about the history and the background of the Wawa business in Pennsylvania.
Well, we started in Pennsylvania in 1964. So this year will be our 50th year. And we're going to have a little celebration with that with our 50th store here in Florida. But when I came on board, we were just getting fuel up and running. I came in 2000 and we opened fuel in the mid 90s. So now we have well over 300 fuel stores. And back then we were talking 20 fuel stores. So we've come a long way since that particular piece, including advancing our food service offer. So getting deeper into fresh made foods, more variety, all span day parts to make sure we're serving all our customers.
This is Florida. It's a long way from Pennsylvania. It's 1,000 miles.
Yep.
Can you explain why Wawa took the big leap down here?
So a team was put together in the early 2000s to do some extensive research throughout the entire country. So a lot of work was done to understand what is the best growth potential, what is the best potential for our type of business, competition, fuel, the convenience side of the business. And after all that time, in around 2008, we landed to come to Florida. We decided Florida is the state to go to.
Now, I visited a lot of Wawa stores in Pennsylvania. This is the first time I visited one in Florida. And there's a big change in store design with this store, isn't there? Can you tell us a little about how you came up with the new design and what the objective was?
Yeah, so huge effort in store design that started a couple years before coming down here. So, and it was a very compact timeline to get the store designed, drawings up, permitting. But when you look at our new design here, it really showcases the fresh food offer. We also have a much smoother, calmer, relaxing look, more of an upscale look from an exterior appearance. And then came, okay, how do we fit it all in a square footage? Because originally you come up with this, we'd love to do this, and it ends up being 10,000 square foot. You can't do that. So we got it down to 5,600 square foot, able to fit everything in the store that we needed, able to fit everything on the lot with a couple different variations based on lot size to be able to accommodate all the sites that we can potentially go in.
You can see here the supersized customer service counter really helps customer flow. You can use touch screens to order. As I see it, the customer experience is seamless and highly efficient. We've been talking to a few customers, and they say that some of them have said this is a restaurant with gas pumps rather than this is a gas station with a convenience store. I mean, how would you recognize that kind of reaction from customers?
So we're pleased with that. So that was one of our concerns going into a new market. So you put fuel pumps in front of a location. in everybody's mind is going to be, it's a gas station. So how do you get them beyond the fuel pumps to think about the fresh food? How do you get that quality to be known and recognized in the fresh food? So our strategy from the beginning, from the openings, was to highlight, was to spotlight all of the fresh food items, promote all the fresh food items, really getting it in the hands of the customers, getting them to try it is the goal. Once they try it, we think we can convince them that we have a really high quality fresh food offering.
Can gas stations become famous for food? Maybe our industry is at a crossroads, and in the future we'll see many more stores like this. Joe Boner is president of branded environments at New York agency CBX. He worked with Wawa to create this new store format, and Joe very much has a global view.
Yes, I do think the industry is at a crossroads. I think what Wawa has developed in Florida certainly represents the state of the industry. I think what we're going to see with many retailers is continuing to develop their food offer where it sort of is really elevated to a much higher level. I think companies like Wawa will continue to compete with not only other convenience stores, but they'll compete with Subway, with Panera, and other places that really are destination for food. I think the retail industry in general, the convenience industry in general, those who will succeed will be following in the footsteps of Wawa, and those who don't will be the ones that really fall behind. So really this combination of elevating the food experience within a convenient environment is certainly the future. So I think one of the key elements of getting Wawa into the Florida market was making them look and feel like a local retailer. And a lot of that really evolved around architecture. We use clapboard siding, we use pastel colors. We had a porch, an open porch on the outside of the building, which is unlike what Wawa does in the Northeast. And so a lot of that was all reflective of local architecture. And we felt that if we could at least communicate from the street that this was a different kind of convenience store that felt a little bit more homegrown, that we had a better chance of feeling like a local retailer. Working with Wawa actually was outstanding. Not only were we able to be very collaborative, but we actually learned a lot. You know, one of the things that we found in working with Wawa is they don't do anything casually. They think everything through in very, very fine detail. It's all about execution, and they don't do anything casually. So I'd say that, you know, really Florida is a true test of Wawa's expertise, knowledge, and just ability to really make sure things work right. And, you know, we just take our hats off. It was really great working with them.
Now, you've been here a year and a half. There was a few years before that in the planning for this big move. It looks pretty successful. I mean, it's going pretty well. Do you feel proud of what your business has achieved? I mean, it's a big step up for Wawa, isn't it, to move right across the US market and have success in Florida?
Yeah. So when you think about, we built 27 stores last year. I mean, that's over $100 million worth of investment just in a year. Take that to 10 years, we're talking over $1 billion plus. So we're very happy, but I would say the amount of effort from the folks, not just on the ground here in Florida, but support back at our corporate Red Roof office has been tremendous. Everybody's focused, the whole organization was focused on making it successful. And I think that's what really, really did it. The support of all the teams, the support of the folks in the stores, and the support of the customers. So when you look at that, extremely happy with how it's working out to date.
And there's a lot of excitement looking to the future. There's a lot of excitement in the business about what Wawa has achieved and what you can do across the US going forward.
Yeah, so that's quite a long way out. So Florida is a big state, and we feel we can get hundreds of sites in Florida that will be very profitable and also very accepting to the customers. From there, right now we're regional, but who knows where it will take us 5 to 10 years from now. But right now our focus is completely on making Florida successful and spreading as many Wawas as possible throughout Florida.
And Wawa giving you a lot. You love working for this business.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Todd, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Terrific.
You bet.
Here in Orlando, can a new store design, sophisticated food programs, and operational excellence change the image of a gas station forever? If you listen to the customers, the answer is yes. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching. It's been fun.
Right. So did you understand the entire store operations? Right. So were you in a position to understand how the entire operations of the store was by looking at this particular video? So any comments did you watch out for the merchandise, how the merchandise was organized, right? So have a look at it. We will discuss it in our next class, right? So how these products were arranged. If you look at it, all the mango flavored items were arranged in one part, followed by pineapple and then by strawberry. And also you must have seen how exactly the layout was, right? So it was very clear, adequate signages were there. You had ATMs inside the store. And then did you see the price of the coffee there? What was the price of the coffee that was there in the video? Did you see that? Anybody noticed it? I also asked you to notice it.
I think it was 59 cents or something.
59
Yeah.
cents, right? So, but then it is given as $1 in the case. But then if you see that signage, but possibly on that day, or I don't know, when I wanted it to check with you all, it says 59 cents. But then in our case, it is given as $1 and any size coffee can be given, right? So look at the way in which the entire, maybe for Florida, probably at that point in time. So this video is based on the Florida store, right? So look at the way in which the entire store operations is done, right? So it is a beautiful video which summarizes the store operation, right? So the service level and the store environment and the ambience. So let's get started with the next part of it, right? So what do you think? Like, what was the differentiating factor? So this Baba is in the business for 200 odd years, right? So starting 1803, right? So what happens here is that they were in the business for so long. Let's look at what exactly are their success factors, right? So what can be their reasons for success? We were talking about their business model, right? So what these guys did it so amazingly well that this is the success factor 1. This is success factor 2. What can be the success factor? Can some of you tell me as to what exactly has made this thing a wonderful, mix of so many things, right? So cost, value, innovation, consumer experience, loyal customers, exactly, willing to change whenever you want to change. That's more important. The openness to change, focus on customer relationship, customer centricity. Then anything else that you want to talk about, that is remarkable. It's a cocktail of so many things. But then the key highlights of it is that not following the competition, right? So one lesson that we all need to understand from this success model is that, right? So if you follow the competition, you only have the idea to better their operations. But then what happens here is that you need to understand, like, marching ahead of your competition is not going to yield any results to you, right? So you need to make your competition irrelevant and also not prioritize on focusing the competition. If they had focused on competition, they would not have been in the place where they are. And another important aspect of it is the remarkable community orientation of the company, right? So the business success is driven by the community value, right? So they always had the best of interest for the customers, their employees, and to the community to which they belong to, right? So they will not give any products which are going to harm their customers anyway. If it is milk that I'm giving, I'll give them the best of milk that is available. That is a doctor certified milk. If I'm going to give them the dairy products, I will give them the best of the dairy products, value-added dairy products like that of cheese and cream and other things. So milk, dairy, value-added dairy, I'll give him the best. If I'm giving him the fuel, I'll give him the best of the fuel. If I'm giving him a food item, I will give him the fresh, healthy, wholesome, safe food item, right? So it is a remarkable consumer orientation. Let's take their employee orientation. How did they handle their employee? Can somebody tell me, like, how exactly was the employee treated in the store? Of course, calling employees as associates is a common thing, right? So it is found in Walmart, it is found in Baba, it is found in Starbucks, everywhere they're called as associates. Apart from calling them as associates, yeah, ESOPs, right? So employee stock option. You create that ownership, right? So this cannot be externally driven. If only I have my vested interest there, I can have my interest-driven initiatives. I work as though I'm a part of the system. Whatever happens to me, good or bad, is going to influence me, right? And then what else from the employee point? Apart from stock option, is stock option, see, fair process. What is the fair process, Debian? What is the fair process? What is the fair process? Fair
ESOPs was a part of it, so they were trying to involve them before making the strategic shift.
fair process consists of 3 E's, right? One is engagement, explanation, and then what is the last one? What is the last one? Engage, explain, and expect, right? So engaging is prior to doing any changes, you have deliberation with the people, with your employees, not people, with your employees. When you deliberate, right, so certain things they will tell which is feasible for you to accept, certain things which may not be feasible for you to accept. Then what happens is that in explanation stage, what happens is that you will have to explain as to why their suggestion was not taken. If you're defying it, not defying it, if you're not incorporating that particular suggestion, right? So you explain to them as to why you are doing so. And the last part of it is what exactly is their expectation, right? So if I change from a convenience store selling fast food and gas to a QSR selling convenience and gas, for this shift in the core composition, what is it expected from the employees? Spell out your expectations clearly. So fair process consists of 3 E's. One is engaging, explaining, and expecting. If these 3 things are done, then the change management process will become rather easy. The momentum will be pulled by the employees, right? So that is one more thing, right? So employees are treated as the owners, they are shareholders, they are there with you. And another thing is that pick out the people from your local community, right? So this local community will have a strong orientation towards the people whom they are serving, right? So Tatas also do it, but they do it differently, right? So you must have learned about Tata's case, right? So they hire employees not from cities or from elite schools, right? So they hire people from relatively tier 2 or tier 3 cities with not so best schools. Why do they do it? They find that the qualities that they expect to deliver the Tata brand experience is found people from that profile. Right? So similarly, what Baba does is that it selects people from the local community who are strongly entrenched with them. So that again is another differentiator. And another thing is that their ambition is very, very different. Conventionally, when you're performing strong, right? So the company has an inflated ego to show that I'm present all over the country, right? So this company does not have that, right? So if you look at McD, if you look at Walmart, they have stores across the globe. It is not necessarily across US, but this guy who makes more sales per store than McD is found only in 6 states, right? So his way of thinking is very, very different. Success doesn't come by the normal ways of thinking, normal ways of doing, right? So success comes to people who are very, very different, radically different from what others operate, right? So possibly this could be one of the reasons. He says, I don't want a national footprint. I have to do the best in whatever areas that I'm serving. That again is another important aspect of it, right? And management visit to the stores also. Good, Meghna, right? You pointed out, right? So how exactly you motivate employees? You motivate employees by doing 3 things. What are those? Listening to them, observing them, and interacting with them, right? So they become a part and parcel of the company's engagement policy, right? So it is not that it is top-down driven. You just give your orders and then it gets executed on the floor. You observe them, you listen to them, right? So you interact with them, right? So that gives you a more and more appeal to the employees to stay put and to do their best, right? So being making them a part of it, this is what is called a servant leadership also, right? So you must have done servant leadership in your other OB or other courses, right? So it talks about putting your community and your stakeholders in front, right? So the leadership is serving the community, serving the people who serve you, serving the people who make the business a great success story. So the employee service orientation and servant leadership of Gaga is very important, and a relentless consumer orientation. That is very, very important, right? So what happens is that the focus was always on doing the best for the consumers in the best possible way, right? So I give them the best of food, but I give it in a good ambience, right? So I give it at a lowest price, at a higher quality. So whatever I give is the best, and whatever I do towards their purchase process or making the consumption experience pleasurable is always the best, right? So relentless consumer orientation and the focus on finer things, right? So finer aspects of all these things. So I'll just play a video on how they make their coffee. Just watch this. You will get to know the amount of importance that they care for everything, right? So if you had listened to the video carefully, they had said they don't do anything casually. They take everything seriously. So look at their coffee procurement policies. You'll be amazed at the amount of importance that goes behind everything. So it is found on their website. I'll just take you there. Right? Are you in a position to see? Are you seeing the coffee?
No, ma'am.
No,
It's not
ma'am.
visible.
Okay, fine. I have not stopped sharing this one slides. Okay. So this is the level of importance that they give for their coffee procurement. Right? Just have a look at it and then you
Serving our friends and neighbors quality coffee sometimes takes us far from home.
We travel to coffee origins all around the world, meeting farmers because we're looking for the right types of partnerships. We only partner with farmers who grow and roasters who source quality coffee and participate in sustainable programs. They must agree to support responsible environmental and social standards. The first step in our journey was to have our handcrafted espresso beverages and our cold brew 100% Rainforest Alliance certified.
My grandfather purchased this land in the 1930s, and ever since he started producing coffee, then my father followed up with the farming, and now my two cousins, who are the agricultural engineers, are taking care of the farm. It is not only seen as a business, but it's also seen as a legacy that we have passion for the plant, and we have passion for the actual product and every cup of coffee that we drink. We have relationships with co-ops, associations, and big estate farmers that need this logistics, trading, and milling services.
We have a group of promoters or agricultural guides, and they teach them sustainable agricultural practices, and they replicate it at each of their parcels. From farm to your morning cup, we're committed to not only great taste and quality, we're committed to the highest standards of sustainable production methods and the future of coffee farming. Our associates take great pride in serving only the best to our friends and neighbors.
Yeah. So did you see that video? So it was talking about how much they care for not necessarily the product, but about environment, about the community. Right? So to be a pioneer, to be a value innovator, to be an exemplar in your category takes much more than being a business model, right? So it is not necessarily the process of buying, selling, and exchanging. Yeah, friends and neighbors are customers. Yeah, Meghna. They are referring to friends and neighbors, right? So they're not referring to as customers. Look at the way in which they are referring to, right? So they're not your customers. They are your friends and neighbors. Great insight, Meghna. Right. So Meghna, thank you for pointing this out. If you've seen it in the video, they are mentioning them not as customers. They're mentioning them as their friends. Right, so this was similar to, I also want to share one anecdote with you at this point in time. So I don't know how many of you have used Kingfisher. Now it is a defunct airline and it is not functional for more than 10 years now. Right, so there, right, so I had traveled in Kingfisher. It was one of the best experience that I had. That was my initial days when I started traveling in flight. So that was, I was also very surprised to travel, and I also liked traveling. So there, Malia gives a personalized video, not a personalized video, a video in which he addresses them not as passengers but as guests. He says, all those who fly in Kingfisher Airlines are my personal guests. So you will be taken care of like how I treat my guests at home. So that is the level of service. And Kingfisher, till they went bankrupt, they were known not only as a full service airline, right, but for their outstanding consumer service also, right? So that was the way in which you address the consumer makes the world of difference for you, right? So if you look at this, right, is it, you can't hear me properly? Is it Vinay? Is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yeah, right. So probably Vinay, in your case, it must be slightly problem at your end, right? So the way in which you address the consumer makes a world of difference. It tells you the emotional connect, right? So what happens is that if you followed your conventional way of doing things, you will not become a category exemplar, right? So they broke the stereotype. What was the stereotype? Stereotype was that a, what to say, a convenience store or a fuel retailer cannot sell high quality food. So now they reworked on this entire three product categories that they were working. One was the convenience, the other one was fuel, and the third one was QSR. And QSR, before revamping the business model, was the weakest link, right? So they were giving quality fuel, they were giving quality convenience item. But then what they did not do is that the food that they offered wasn't quality, right? So they then reject their entire portfolio, made the weakest link a strongest point. See, to turn around this is not easy. You need to understand it requires strategic partnership, right? So can we discuss a little about strategic partnership before we end the class? So how did they rejig it? They rejig it using strategic partnership. Can somebody tell me as to what exactly went in their partnership? How did they partner to create this wonderful business model, right? So they never had their kitchen of their own. They never had a big cooking area. They never had anything of their own. All they did is collect from somebody, assemble, and then give their best of experience. Outsourcing, where did they outsource from? What are the key players in the outsourcing, right? So what are the roles of Penske? What is the role of Safeway? So what did Safeway do? What did Safeway deliver? Safeway delivered pre-cooked food, right? So your chicken or meat or whatever it is, right? So McLean was the logistic partner, and then Taylor Farms were giving them the salads, right? But what was McLean doing? Was it delivering only the products? So they collected from Safeway and then they collected from Taylor Farms, and then did they deliver it to Wawa, or did they do much more than that? Somebody asked about cross-docking, right? So what is cross-docking? Taylor salads, and then what is cross-docking? What did McLean do to them? What did the delivery partner do? Delivery partner was delivering the, McLean was delivering the grocery. Who was the other partner who was delivering the, pre-cooked food and salads to the stores? Who was that? Who was the logistic partner for this? Who was the logistic partner for this? Yeah, cluster of stores. I want to know the logistic partner for this. Who was the logistic partner for this? Penske was the logistic partner for this. So what did they do? They did something called as cross-docking. What is that? What is cross-docking? What is cross-docking? Directly to the customer. Yeah, then cross-docking is not directly to customer. See, from Safeway, Penske will pick the pre-cooked meat, right? Yeah, bundling and delivering, exactly, right? So what will Penske do is that they'll pick the pre-cooked meat from Safeway. They will get salads or pre-cooked or prepared salads from your tailor, both of which will be collected independently, and then they will be bundled together and then delivered to each of those Wawa, right? So 2 units of salads and 3 units of cooked meat will be bundled together, and then they will be given to Baba. So their logistic partner, yeah, storage time is not, yeah, their logistic partner was also, usually cross-docking is done in your own storehouse, right? You have to do it yourself. But here in the case of logistic partner Penske, he is collecting it, he's also bundling it, and then he is also delivering it. So it is a strategic synergistic partnership, right? So otherwise, which is not feasible. Of course, I don't know whether they have charged Baba for it, but then this is a wonderful mechanism, right? So you don't need any storage space at all. You don't have to collect all the items from Taylor Farms and that of Safeway and then put it together, bundle it, and then distribute it to different Baba stores. That is not required. And then they also made good money because their stores were very close to each other. So the logistic cost was also very less, right? So you have to have a different way of doing things. If you do things the conventional way, you will not be in a position to do it. And a relentless focus on the consumer orientation. Otherwise, right? So whatever you have is not going to benefit you at all, right? So today's class, we were talking about the store called Wawa, right? So we discussed about what exactly is Blue Ocean, what exactly are the components, key tenets of Blue Ocean, what exactly are the tools that we use in Blue Ocean. We discussed 3 important tools, right? So one is the strategy canvas, one is the ERRC framework, and other is the non-customer framework. So we did 2 individual exercises on the Blue Ocean tools, and then we also saw how exactly is this model a successful model. Is it thoroughly a successful model because of its business dynamics, or the success of it lies more than that of the business composition? So not more than business composition, a part of it is also driven by the community orientation, consumer orientation, employee orientation of the company, which makes it so special, right? So this is about running an operation very efficiently using Blue Ocean strategy tools, right? So we'll end the class now, right? So today's class will get over today at this point in time, and then when you come for your Thursday's class, we will have to discuss pepper fry case, right? So pepper fry will be the discussion for Thursday's class. Come prepared for the class. And I have asked you to do 2 individual activity in the class. One is to create an ERRC framework for QSR of your Gaga. And the other one is what are the 3 distinct non-customer segments, right? So I asked you to create it in a Word doc. Atulya has created a submission link, and the submission link will end by 12 o'clock. I urge you all to submit your individual exercises in that particular link before 12 noon today, right? So that is taken for evaluation. So I urge you all to submit it before time. So I'm giving you another half an hour or so. Complete the task and then upload the assignment prior to 12 noon, right? So we'll end the class here at this point in time. It is 11:31 now, right? So yeah, Devesh.
Can we do both the exercise in one doc only, right?
Only one document, right? So not 2 documents, don't upload 2 documents. Give it in one document, right? So and then upload it in the link that is created now, right? So thank you so much. Have a great day, and then we'll meet on Thursday again. Bye. See you.